Welcome everybody back to Yang Daily. First off, I totally forgot to include the Yang Daily 10 yesterday. For the record, our task was to share our favorite clip of Yang from a past debate on Facebook, Instagram, or just text it to a friend, explaining why we love it. My apologies to the Yang Daily 10 team and the Yang Gang. It will not happen again. That said, let's get into it. Yang announced that he will be running a series of town halls in East Iowa from January 18th to 20th, hitting the cities of Iowa City, Marion, Independence, Waterloo, and Grinnell. Dates and times for these can be found in the links in the podcast description or in yang2020.com's events. Yang asks that we share these with anyone we know in Iowa and that we redouble our efforts of canvassing, phone banking, and text banking in Iowa. Iowa and New Hampshire are our chances to convince the country that Yang is a viable candidate. Iowa's in-person caucus system allows for even a few enthusiastic attendees in each district to swing the vote, and New Hampshire has open primaries, allowing Republicans and independents to vote in the Democratic primary without the need to register. Not to put too fine a point on it, Yang Gang, but the campaign will likely make or break in these two states. So assess your priorities in life, decide whether your future is worth spending some free time on the phone this month, and make it happen, because this is likely to be so tight that your decision could well change the outcome. Humanity for Yang sent a tweet today asking for people to sign up for their phone banking experiment to help figure out what the best time is for phone banking in Iowa. Sign up in the links below. Yang tweeted today that he feels a change in the last couple of weeks, that the populace at large is starting to realize Yang can win. I think the endorsement from Chappelle, the dozens of strikingly positive articles and TV appearances, and the lamenting of so many public figures over Yang missing the debate have led me to feel the same. People are coming to the understanding that Yang is the most genuine, has the best grasp of what common Americans need, is appealing to all segments of the population, has the best chance to beat Trump, and has the best chance of enacting his policies in office. Anyone who's paid any attention to history knows that the same old is not what the people want. There's a reason every status quo presidential candidate for the last 2 decades is lost. The people demand progress, and Yang embodies that progress. Earlier in the day, Yang tweeted, quote, "One reason we have succeeded where other candidates have failed is that humiliation has no fear for us. What's truly humiliating is allowing poverty and pervasive financial insecurity in the richest country in the history of the world." End quote. It fits well with one of Yang's other sayings, that when something's important enough and you have the power to do something about it, you go for it, regardless of the odds. Elon Musk has said almost the same thing, and that guy's now revolutionized no less than 4 separate industries. Yang also tweeted a happy anniversary to his wife Evelyn with some very sweet pictures of them. Be sure to check them out and wish them both a happy anniversary. Evan Lowe of the California State Assembly announced today that he is proud to serve as a national campaign co-chair for Andrew Yang. Welcome aboard, Evan. Playwright Jeremy Harris of the plays Daddy and Slave Play, and currently adapting The New World to the big screen, tweeted today that Chappelle and Chris Shin's endorsements have encouraged him to examine Yang with new eyes. If history is any judge, he'll be Yang Gang within a few days of that examination. Yang was the guest on Stephen Colbert's late night show last night, and he was quite well received. Contrary to Yang's previous appearance, he was given ample time and treated with a good deal more respect. Colbert even gave Yang some very encouraging questions, asking if the debates even matter, asking why he didn't make the stage, which allowed Yang to explain the lack of qualifying polls, asking whether he made the donation threshold, allowing Yang to emphatically reassure people of that, asking Yang to elaborate on why there was no diversity on the stage, allowing Yang to reiterate his excellent answer regarding how financial insecurity among minorities connects directly to their lack of representation in politics. It seems Colbert is now taking Yang seriously, which speaks well for the shifting mood of the country overall. Colbert also shouted out Chappelle's endorsement and CNBC's latest error. Vanity Fair ran an article on Yang's appearance on the Colbert Late Show as well as the Chappelle endorsement today. Chris Cillizza released a 3-minute clip of his interview with Yang explaining how our perverse economic mentality has twisted us into thinking of people as nothing more than economic widgets, how that is hurting us, and how UBI is a practical way to fix it. It's a really good condensation of the argument that's made for sharing, so check it out in the links and use it to get people interested in Yang. Now This released a clip of their interview with Yang discussing immigration and how many immigrants should be allowed each year, and a 30-minute clip discussing climate change, infrastructure, the economy, and much more. It's very interesting. Check it out in the links. David Plouffe had Zach Grauman on his podcast, Campaign HQ with David Plouffe, to talk about the Yang Gang, the path to the White House, and having fun along the way. It's good to see Zach Grauman finally get some love. Think put out an opinion article. I didn't have time to look through most of it, but it's largely about Yang appealing to a diverse group of men that other candidates mostly ignore. So similar to the article from yesterday. Fast Company released an article today on hashtag America Needs Yang trending in the #1 slot relating to the debate, and hashtag Yang Gang took the #3 slot as well, with Bernie 2020 taking #2. The article also mentions that Bernie and Warren were the most talked about candidates on the stage, but over 40% of that chatter was negative for each. I'm starting a new segment on the Yang Daily. Andrew Yang has over 150 policies. It's hard to keep up with him, so I will be mentioning one policy every episode from here on. I'm going to assume everyone is familiar with UBI and start with one of his bigger policies that gets far too little attention, the American Scorecard. The American Scorecard is Andrew's idea to add a ton of new measures of citizens' well-being to our current economic metrics of GDP, stocks, and headline unemployment, so that we can have an idea of how everyone is doing rather than just the rich. This would include such measures as mental and physical health, job satisfaction, quality of infrastructure, access to education, environmental quality, reacclimation of incarcerated individuals, artistic and cultural vibrancy, civic engagement, and many more. These metrics, most of which are already being tracked but not used, would be the new measure of success for the government and would be presented at each State of the Union, giving us an actual assessment of our progress rather than a stump speech about how great everything is. Today's Yang Daily 10 task, which I did not forget this time, is to participate in a phone banking competition between Paget and her fiancé, Steve. We're asked to log into the Yang 2020 phone banking dialer. Instructions can be found in the link in the podcast description, and make at least 10 calls, then screenshot the dialer's call count and tweet to either Paget or Steve with a hashtag Team Paget or Team Steve, depending on who you're rooting for. If Paget wins, Steve will be getting a makeover live on YouTube. If Steve wins, Paget will make a meal of his choosing, most likely something British, and will compliment him nonstop for 5 minutes as he consumes it on camera. Don't forget to comment on yangdaily10.com once you've done the deed. If you're unfamiliar with Paget Kagi, she's a great leader for the Yang Gang, and I will have a link to her YouTube channel in the Google Drive linked in the description. And that's our Yang news for today. You're up to speed and all set to sign up for the phone banking experiment and the phone banking contest. Get out there and make it happen, Yang Gang.